The first hint that all would not go well with the Guyana Power and Light Company during the consideration of the 2013 estimates for the national budget came during the debate presentation of a Partnership for National Unity MP Carl Greenidge.
We have here, Mr. Speaker, a black hole, okay? The combined sugar and GPL are a black hole in which resources of taxpayers are being dumped. And this is taking place at the expense, yes, it's a black hole because there is, the only point in putting money there is if you're going to fix it.
Nevertheless, the motion to cut was tabled first by the AFC, followed by one made by APNU. Prime Minister Hinds made an impassioned plea, pointing out that even with the cuts, more allocations were needed for the company.
Without this money, GPL would be having a hole of about 20% in what it requires to sustain itself, and some of it would probably end up in reduced purchases of fuel. Some of it would end up in reduced purchases of other supporting machinery, materials, transformers, and so on. I would like to entreat this House to accept, and we just have to look back. All along the prices we charge for electricity are about 70% of the cost. That's the situation we came and met. That is the situation we came and met where the IDB was demanding that costs be put to that we charge the economic prices. But as policy, we have not been charging economic prices. And the costs incurred in GPL, we all want it to be lower, but they're about the prices that
Thank you.
people in our situations find. People who use fuel, people who use petroleum fuel spend about $80 a kilowatt hour to provide electricity. And we're charging $60 a kilowatt hour. So every kilowatt hour we sell has $20 of support, needs $20 of support from the budget.
Despite the arguments, the allocation towards the $10.2 billion electrification program under the Office of the Prime Minister, which covered GPL and the Amaila Falls Hydro project, was reduced by $5.2 billion under the APNU tabled motion.
Honourable members, I think that all the members have been gathered, and therefore I'd like to put the question, that is that the motion standing in the name of the honourable member, Mr. Carl Greenidge, be approved by the House. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against? No. Division is sought. The honourable members, the clerk reports that the division being called for and the vote taken, and 33 members voted in favour of the motion, 32 members voted against it. The motion is therefore carried. I will now put the motion, that is that the estimates contained in Agency 2002, Program 021, Prime Minister's Secretariat, Capital Expenditure be approved as amended. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against? The ayes have it. Thank you. Those stand approved.
But there are going to be severe fallouts over this slash in the budget for electrification programs, especially at a time when the demand has increased tremendously. The reduction of the allocations has left three options open to government to accumulate the funds necessary to produce and supply the requisite amount of power to the nation.
It could be met in various ways by providing less. It could be met by us agreeing now to pay more, pay what we should pay, to remove the subsidy. It could be met by that. It could be met also by us selling shares. And I tell you, one of the things once you sell shares is that you have to charge the correct price. There's no question of subsidy. You're not going to invest your money in a company where the price is being subsidized. and you're only seeing losses. So once we get to selling shares, we're gonna have to once we get to selling shares to raise the investment part, prices will have to be the economic prices. I want you to help me. I seek your help in suggesting how we should approach it now.
Prime Minister Hinds explained that the allocations which have been cut had two targets: to replace the suppression in the tariffs, keeping the costs for electricity low, and to provide for the expansion and upgrade of the system which government, as the owner of the company, is mandated to undertake.
Over the last 5 years, government has had to put about $28.2 billion of investments into GPL, and you could add that to the foregone revenues, the net foregone revenues of about $27 billion. There is a total of about 55 or more billion dollars that government has put and has had to put into GPL.
Pointing out that Guyana has the fourth lowest rate for electricity in the region, Prime Minister Hinds noted that for 2013, GPL is projected to absorb $6.4 billion through subsidizing the cost to citizens. In addition, GPL, not having a positive profit flow, cannot easily access loans for its maintenance and expansion programs.
GPL arranges some amount of loans on its own, but not having a positive profit flow and so on, banks and institutions are constrained the amount of loans that they're willing to provide directly to GPL. So the loans come through the government. And in the last period, in the very recent period, maybe the last 4 or 5 years, we could speak to what has been done in GPL in the form of investments. Let me say that the peak demand for GPL, our demand for electricity has been growing in line with the growth of our economy, and also in line with people's rising standard of living, installing air conditioning. That's a particularly large draw on power. But the demand has risen from about 33 megawatts in 1992 to 87 megawatts about now in the Demerara system. And so one has to put in the investments, both generation and network investments, to deliver 87 megawatts, let us say, instead of 33 megawatts.
Meanwhile, Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh has also pointed to the negative impact which will be caused by the cut being applied, indicating that the threats to development are real, not only to Guyana, but to the development of the well-being of all Guyanese and their way of life. Government is still hoping that good sense will prevail and the cut would be withdrawn.